All right, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Um, If you have your cell phones, please mute them for the meeting. Becky, will you do roll call?
I will. Do you want to appoint Keen first?
Yeah, we're short a person for a quorum, so I like to appoint Keen Hudson to this committee to fill the vacancy of the quorum.
Okay. We got Jack Scrogstead,
Here.
Dean Friel,
Here.
Katie White, Ron Gascoigne, Reed Acree,
Here.
Allie Huss, and Keen Hudson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We have one visitor on Zoom. Laurette, I see you're on Zoom. I did see you. At this particular moment, I believe you are a public attendee, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes to speak about what you got going on, Laurette. You're going to have to mute yourself, or we'll unmute you, one of the two.
I'm
Okay.
having trouble with my internet.
Okay.
It is going in and out.
All right. Well, we can hear you now, Laurette. We did. She's off. Okay. She's back. Okay, now you're back on again. You're gonna have to unmute yourself again. You have to unmute yourself, ma'am. There you go.
I need to switch devices because about every 15 seconds it's clicking off. So is there some other business you could work on?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start, and then if you can just, I think you can raise a hand, I think, on there when you're ready to go, and then we'll we'll defer back to you then. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead and switch over, whichever you got to do. All right. I don't have any other visitors here. Any county board members that are present have any comments? Okay. All right. Great. All right. So let's go over the minutes. I'm hoping everybody had a chance to go over the minutes. If there's no changes or corrections to the minutes from the May 14th, they will stand as presented. So anybody there make any comments or corrections on there? None? Okay, so let's just get right into transportation, solid waste. Dave Anderson, would you like to walk the committee through your report?
Sure. Pretty simple this month. No board action items to take care of and discuss and so forth. So you gotta, basically what we've been busy with is a lot of project work. I think I counted on here. I think I had 8 completes out of that list. I think another one slipped in complete since I made this list up late last week. So been knocking off quite a few of the smaller jobs, which is real nice. Still got a fair amount of work left to go, left in the summer. So been pretty well tied up with that. In addition to that, of course, we have the phase 1 engineering we're beginning on the potential new site for the highway facility on the property that we got the option on, signed up, last month. So been making motions on that, getting those things ready to go. Those are fairly long lead time items to get permits and approvals on. So getting going on those right away. Other than that, not a whole lot to report. It's not on the report, but I guess just so you know, I did sort of a mid-year assessment of where we're at in our departmental budget. And as far as that goes, it looks like we're pretty well on track for where we would expect expenditures to be this time of year. So nothing crazy to report there.
So have you started the 4-day a week?
Oh yeah. Yep. That started essentially May 1st.
Okay.
And so far so good.
All right, good.
Yep.
And I missed that. So you guys are doing 4?
So yeah. Let me explain that a little further. With the new contract that just came into effect, between May 1st and September 30th, the maintenance guys will be on 410s. So, and that's a brand new concept to us. So we're working through all the little unexpected things you don't really think of at the time. But anyway, so far so good on that. The guys seem to like it. Seems to be working well. So
Yeah, we used to have 3-day, when I worked, the sheriff's department on 12-hour shifts. So we had other 3-day weekend off, and that was always nice to look forward to. As long as you weren't working overtime, it was a nice little deal. So,
right.
but so, okay, good. So it's working for you guys. Great.
And-
Dave, is that, and all of them work a total of 4 days, or is it alternating? Like you got Monday through Thursday and Tuesday through Friday or something like that?
No, the whole crew
Okay.
works Monday through Thursday. Whole crew has Friday off then. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Some people don't like Mondays, so thought maybe we could throw that in there once in a while. Okay, thanks, Dave. Any other questions, comments for David? Solid waste, obviously electronics still going on, fine, dandy, right? So, all right, let's, assessor's office. Jennifer, would you like to walk us through your report?
Good morning. Like Dave, I don't have very much to report this month. As you know, the tax bills went out earlier this month, and that has consumed most of our time in the office with phone calls and traffic. We have conducted interviews and have identified qualified a candidate for our full-time clerical position. Actually, at the time I submitted my report, we had offered her the position, and she was going to review the details with her husband over the weekend. So on Monday, she emailed me to confirm that she will be starting, and that will be August 5th, I believe, that will be her start date. And other than that, we have board of review scheduled to convene for 2024 year this Thursday, the 13th, and also the Farmland Assessment Review Committee will have their annual meeting on that day also. And that's about it right now. Is there any questions?
Questions for Jennifer? Okay.
I'll toss it over to Sammy.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The GIS department has been working on the following tasks: processing parcel splits and combination requests for April 2024, maintaining and updating land use zoning and other GIS layers, updating the 911 and NG 911 GIS layers, and uploading the data to the public safety mapping platforms. Also been attending the broadband breakthrough meetings and examining the project data. We've been working on creating web applications for field inspections photos and deploying data collection solution to improve the accuracy and increase the productivity in the field. Also have deployed the parcel drafter solution to increase the efficiency in parcel creation and editing. Also, we had our first meeting with Esri, like on-site meeting with Esri to discuss possible future collaboration opportunities. That's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions, please.
Any questions for Sammy? I know Sammy's doing a lot of work for this broadband breakthrough, so I appreciate
Thank you very much.
your help on that as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, County Board, Jeremy, do you have anything to share with us?
No, just we're getting close to wrapping up the broadband breakthrough stuff. All the surveys are in, the results are back. We are, I was on vacation last week, but we're in the process of getting information back from our local ISPs and then trying to set up kind of our action plan with the broadband breakthrough cohort and the group. And then we have one final meeting with them. I think that's in the next week, actually. And then we should be able to keep things moving forward with that in an internal direction. Something to note, and I'm sure Greg is going to hit on this here, but the lots and RMTD transition will be happening effective July 1. There's kind of a cutoff date internally with the county, which is June 28th. But after that, lots will cease to exist as a county operation, and the RMTD will be operating moving forward. So that's something that's been in the works for a couple of years, and most recently been, this last year, there's been a lot of work that's been put into it. So I want to thank, our Treasurer Department, State's Attorney's Department, and lots, Greg over there for, being just a fantastic partner and unit of our operation for all these years.
All right, any questions for Jeremy? All right, well, questions, all right, let's go to County Clerk. Nancy, would you like to share us with your report?
Sure. Good morning. Also, my report is very brief. Also, I just wanted to give you a heads up on economic interest forms that went out. The deadline was May 1st. We still have, out of 624, we have 3 outstanding people that have not turned in their economic form. And just FYI, then what we do is we transfer that to Charlie's office, and then they send a letter to those 3 people. This is about average to have 3 people, and it's unfortunate that they have to go to the state's attorney's office to get a letter to have them come in and file that report. And then I also have a new hire in my vital records department. This is her 3rd week. And just wanted to give the committee a heads up on the struggle that I'm also having on trying to hire a new hire. She replaced a girl that I had for 6 months, and she left my department because of a better paying job. And I am under a union contract, so I have a lot of bumps I have to, I guess, address when I have a new hire. So I'm very anxious of what the future is going to look like in my office. I do have 3 women that are getting very close to retirement age, so I will have quite a few openings coming up in my office. So it's a concern that I know Amy Johnson has brought to the board, and I also have that same concern. You get about 60 applications. It gets down to about 10 people show up for the interview, and they come in, look at the requirements and what the county's going to pay, and they say, no, thank you. So it's a struggle. And the biggest struggle that my office has is the previous girls that I have in my office. They were under a union contract, and it used to be set what their hourly rate was. So let's just say a girl I hired 3 years ago came in at maybe $14 an hour, and she still isn't even to minimum wage. And then these people aren't even considering a job under minimum wage to work in the office. So it's just something I wanted you to be aware of and the concerns that we have going into the future. Any questions?
I was just curious, what union is that? I mean, as far as.
Teamsters.
Thank you.
Is it? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I drew a blank. My office and the treasurer's office fall underneath the same Teamsters union. And then their contract comes up this November. So that's also another thing to look at. But thank you.
I just want to make sure I give my 2 cents during those times, my opinion. So, yeah, it's sad. I'll say that. Okay. All right. Any questions for Nancy? Okay. IT.
Paul's not in.
Paul's not here. Okay. Lorette, are you good to go?
He did submit a report, though.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Lorette, you're on.
Okay. All
Can I get
right.
your last name? Can I get your last name, Lorette, and what organization?
Yes, it's Newlin, Newlin. And the organization is Illinois Separation Referendum. Originally, it was called Illinois Separation, but we had Facebook remove our Facebook page. And when we started rebuilding, we went with the name Illinois Separation Referendum. We're more than a referendum, but by adding referendum, when people Google us, they don't get divorce advice. Yeah, that is funny.
Okay. All right, Lorette, just to kind of give you an idea, I missed the board action review to get your information on our agenda so we can discuss it. I apologize. I totally missed it. So You're going to be speaking as a guest and you'll have 5 minutes. So your 5 minutes will start now. If you can get it all out in 5 minutes, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm just going to start from ground zero as if you've never heard of it before. The referendum wording that would go on your ballot is as follows. Shall the board of Lee County correspond with the boards of other counties of Illinois outside of Cook County about the possibility of separating from Cook County to form a new state and to seek admission to the union as such, subject to the approval of the people? It's fairly simple and straightforward, but I do have an explanation.
Go ahead.
The referendum gives we the people a voice about what we want, whether for or against. According to the Declaration of Independence, government derives its just powers by the consent of the governed. Many of us no longer consent to being governed by the Cook County dominated legislature, which seems unaware of how differently the rest of the state lives, our values and morals, or how laws for the city of Chicago are often inappropriate and oppressive to the rest of the state. And I can give examples. This non-binding referendum does not make the split happen, but is an important first step. The Constitution does not require this, but how else can we better find out what the people want? Because it gives each person who's a registered voter the same opportunity to participate, as opposed to regular opinion polls. So the vote assesses the will of we the people and informs local, state, and federal officials. The referendum gives county boards and commissioners a seat at the table, so to speak, to discuss the possibility of separating. We are aware that debt and pension obligations will need to be divided fairly, and there are universities and prisons to consider. We are aware Cook County contributes a sizable amount to the Illinois coffers. However, Cook also has significant expenses, such as debt and pension load. There are areas we could save money by separating. With different laws, we could attract businesses. After the will of we the people is known through voting, then discussions about finances can begin. Until voting, we cannot begin to know which counties are in favor of exploring statehood or what we have to work with. Passing the referendum gives local officials consent and direction from its citizens.
And we lost her again. Okay, you're on. You're back on. On her side, it's unmuted. Hold on, Lorette. Go ahead, test your microphone. Nope. All right, we're not getting any of your sound again. We've got her unmuted too. Yeah. I don't know, for some reason we lost your voice. Yeah. Still nothing. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, we'll, if, okay, I don't know if you can send her a chat if she gets back on, and that we'll try to get her at the end.
No, she's not. Mm-mm. Yeah, my friend Lorette, I think she lives in central or southern Illinois, actually, quite a few hours away.
Not near our broadband areas, apparently. So, okay. All right. All right, we'll hopefully she can get back on. So, okay, real quick here, Paul Gorski's not here, but he did put a monthly report in there, if you guys go through that. Let's go to lots. Greg, if you want to share us with your report.
I will hit some highlights, Jack, in terms of the report that was sent out. You can see that ridership is continuing to remain at an elevated level over a comparative look at the previous fiscal year. During March, April, May, 24,655 rides, service hours, just over 7,700 miles of service, 213,509 in fuel costs, just over 67,000. We're trending for a year two, or an end of year date, in terms of some of those stats as being around 92 to 93,000 rides provided. Service hours around 28,000 or 29,000 hours of service. Miles of service should be around 770,000 miles our vehicles will have traveled, and fuel cost more than $250,000. In terms of developments, this month is going to be a rush to the finish line, so to speak. Closure between the county and Reagan Mass Transit District will take place on Friday, June 28th. RMTD will be live as a local government as of that following Monday on July 1st of 2024, working through existing agreements, working with the state's attorney's office, and finalizing, as well as our own legal team, some of the agreements, components of that final closing document. And it's been a rather interesting last month or two in terms of getting some of that stuff lined up. Currently out for bids for a IT service provider. Also going out very soon is a request for proposals for auditing services. I will also be broadcasting a request for proposals for marketing services. And one of the funding sources that we received is through the state planning and research arm of IDOT that will look at the transportation deserts of Lee and Ogle counties. And for that purpose, we need a data analyst partner. So that RFP will also be going out probably after the 1st of July. Finalizing contracts with IDOT, those contractual amounts have not changed. From my previous reports, work is continuing with Winnebago County board members in terms of that purchase transportation piece of RMTD providing transportation services in rural Winnebago County. Think of the western side of Winnebago County. And we are working on the final stages, I'm happy to say, of the feasibility studies for both the city of Dixon and the city of Rochelle, looking at the feasibility of developing fixed routes for both of those communities. And they hope to wrap up those two studies by the end of August, first part of September, and present that information. I would advocate that the Dixon one be shared with this county board when they get to that point with the final report. That is all I have, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Greg. And this is your last report then, assuming with us then.
Sadly, yes, Jack.
Well, we appreciate what you did for us in the area. So all your work and your expertise on that. I'm sure we can still borrow you once in a while, can't we?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Jack, could I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
You mentioned transportation desert. What qualifies Lee and Ogle as that?
We know that there's actually desert areas within both of those counties where there's a limited amount of transportation options for individuals. I'm not looking at public transportation per se. I'm just looking in general. And this is what the study will actually look at, is what are the transportation needs of those areas that are very remote in both Lee and Ogle counties, and what can be done to actually meet those qualified needs. It could be simply having, say, a multi-use path in a community, say for instance, like Stewart or Franklin Grove or Ashton, that would help them with getting around their own community, let alone going outside of their borders.
So as of right now, do I understand that we don't have real numbers on, when you say desert, that we don't have any real numbers right now? Is that right? Or
the only numbers, the only data we would have would be if you look at some of the census information. And we know that there's a rather sizable amount, say on the southwest side of Dixon, where there's households that have 0 or 1 car available to them. So what are they doing to get to the grocery store if that vehicle is either not existing or it's already out at a workplace providing for that family? So looking at that information will be a key indicator to start with.
So
But
when
beyond
you say sizable, about how many people is that you're talking about?
In terms of overall for the
In terms
counties,
of the people that have 0 or 1?
but off the top of my head, I would say at least 5 to 10%. And I believe it's probably more like in the realm of 11 to 13% in both of those counties.
So overall, and not just referring to, for example, South Dixon Township, you mean the percentage overall of the county?
That's the only information that I can pull from right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, I see she's back on, but she's muted again. Lorette? We're going to continue on.
I can hear you now.
Okay, all
For at
right.
least seconds.
Okay, go ahead and finish it up if you can.
Okay. I'm not sure where I left off, but I think I'll start with number 6. After the will of we the people is known through voting, then discussions about finances can begin. Until voting, we cannot begin to know which counties are in favor of exploring statehood or what we have to work with. Passing the referendum gives local officials consent and direction from its citizens to communicate with the other consenting counties about assets, liabilities, and other details. It is our constitutional First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Because of the Chicago-dominated legislature, we see no way to have those grievances resolved other than through forming a new state. Our goal is to restore the new state to alignment with the U.S. Constitution and return more power to the county level. And this last one is very important. If county officials take a vote to approve putting the referendum on ballots, a yes vote means the official is in favor of allowing citizens opportunity to be heard at the ballot box, either for or against exploring separation, regardless of their personal opinion about whether we should or shouldn't. It's wanting to give the people an opportunity to have a voice. So that's the main thing. I have some maps I can show you, but I think you've spent a lot of time waiting for me to come on and off. So if you want me to stop, I will just stop there.
I've got a minute still left for you. If you can, she able to share her screen at all?
I will be honest with you. I'm a massage therapist, and in 2020, when everybody was learning to Zoom, I didn't, because you can't do a massage through.
Okay, no problem.
Lorette?
No
Yes.
problem.
I was just gonna ask, I think you have the map, Jack, but how many counties have passed this so far, and are there any recent counties?
So far to date, 26.2, and the 0.2 is 2 townships in Madison County. And the average so far is 74% have voted yes.
Okay, so and all you're looking to do is to ask Lee County government, to the county board, to pass a resolution or pass this, so it goes on the ballot. If
Yes.
the county fails, if Lee County fails to endorse this, let's just say, is there another option for the people to get this on the ballot? What's the other option?
So if the county board fails to put it on this time, we could restart the petitioning effort in November after the election. Is that what
Okay.
you're asking?
Yeah, I was just, is there another way to, so you'd have to get a X amount of petitioners to sign a petition to put it on the ballot, but you couldn't get it done until after the election for the next election, correct?
That would be correct. And
Okay.
then if it would fail to pass in Lee County, which I doubt that would be the case, we could potentially do what West Virginia did. They allowed in their constitution, they made a provision for 8 additional counties to vote later to join West Virginia. And 7 of the 8 counties did do that within 10 years. But it would have to be part of the Constitution.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I apologized. I missed it in my communication with Angie and to get it on the agenda today. So we can ask questions. We just can't do any action on this particular subject today. So I apologize for that. That was my mess up. I don't think I have anything else. And you answered my question there on if it's just to put it on the ballot for the citizens of Lee County to decide, not this government to decide to whatever, to
Right.
exalt, right, to remove, separate, I guess is the word.
Right.
All
We
right.
wouldn't be
Any-
removing, we would be
Is-
taking ourselves out.
Okay. Any questions from this panel or from this committee?
Does anybody else have questions? Because Lorette is the expert on this, so it'd be a good time.
Okay. All right, Lorette, thank you for your time and my apologies.
My apologies for my bad internet.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay, so we're going to continue on. Next on the agenda we have is zoning. Alice, would you like to share your report with the committee and walk us through the 3 action items on the agenda?
Good morning. Actions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals this month is petition number 24P1626 by Michael Doty and Tammy Doty. This was a request from for a variance from the side and rear bulk regulations. They have an unusually shaped parcel. It is a triangle with setbacks and stuff. They were a little bit limited as to what they could do. They came before the Zoning Board of Appeals and received a unanimous recommendation to approve the petition. Actions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals this month is petition number 24P1627 by AgView FS Inc. They currently have a facility located at 2290 Quarry Road. This would be an expansion of that existing facility. Actions coming from the Planning Commission this month is petition number 24P76 by the Lee County Zoning Office. This is a text amendment to the existing flood control ordinance that has been on the books since 2005. We have come to find out that there's a couple of definitions that could be added to add clarity to the document. There's also what we're finding out is this issue of substantial damage and substantial improvement. If you have a residence in the floodplain and you do any repairs to it, if you do over 50% of the value of the property, you have to bring the entire property into compliance. The same goes for damage. If the home is damaged more than 50% of its value, then you would have to repair the entire home. What we are asking to do with this text amendment is it adds a 10-year rolling period to this substantial damage and substantial improvement. As it stands right now, the zoning office could look back the entire history of the property and look at all the improvements that have been made. And this would prevent some people from being able to make changes to their property without bringing the entire property into compliance with the floodplain. By adding this 10-year rolling period, that limits the amount of time that we can look back on. And it is a 10-year period and it rolls. So, you know, last year, say this year, you want to make some changes to your property, but those changes are going to result in 50% of the improvement of the value. If you wait a year, then that might change. So this is a way for us to be able to help the people, the public, make changes to their property and still be in compliance with the floodplain. There are no actions going to the Planning Commission. In other news, Crawford Solar 1 and Crawford Solar 1A have received their building permits for their two megawatt community solar projects. These projects are located on Red Brick Road. We did bring in just over $40,000 in building permit fees for these projects. Later this month, Laura and I will be attending separate conferences. Jeremy will be assisting the zoning office and keeping it open during that time. And Laura and I will both be working and assisting with the processes remotely. During the month of May, the zoning office processed 43 building permits, and we collected $50,772 in permit fees. Last month at county board, the board voted to table the Humphrey petition, and I don't know if this board has any questions, as you'll be reviewing that again later this month.
Okay. I have just a question on the verbiage of the coming from the planning commission. Is the federal good with this language change too?
Yes,
They're
this
good
is
with that?
actually supported by the state. It would keep us in line with what is being asked by the state. That keeps us in the National Floodplain Insurance Program.
Okay, that's what I was concerned, making sure that, you know, we're making it easier, but I mean, we're making it easier for property owners, but are we kicking ourselves at the same time? Okay, good. All right, any other questions for? Okay, all right, so go ahead.
Alice, your office right now is working with a lot of these people in that flood issue, am I correct?
Not yet.
Not yet?
It's going to be a slow process. You know, the county is really going to have to look at these properties on an individual basis and determine what violations exist and what path forward we're going to take. There are known violations up and down the river. So we are looking to address those, but there's no way my office has the ability to go out and do this in mass. It is going to be a slow process, and that's all we can do at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And just to note, you know, the state IDNR is really leading this with our zoning office. So a lot of what we're processing going through is at the charge of the direction of the state to make sure that we are able to still be a part of this program. And that's what, you know, we're trying to facilitate the direction we're being given.
Okay. All right, so let's got a couple of actions to take here. So there's one petition going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And that is petition number 24P 1627 by Ag Views FS Incorporated regarding PIN number 0304 24 300-006. The parcel is zone Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District and is located in Nashton Township. The petitioner is seeking a map amendment to the I2 district for the purposes of warehousing, cold storage, and equipment maintenance. So is there a motion to move petition 24P 1627 to the executive committee for inclusion on the June County Board agenda? Dean Friel moves. Do I have a second? Reed seconds it. Any discussion on this? All right, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passed. All right, so there's one petition coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals with resolutions. Petition number 24P 1626 by Michael Doughty and Tammy Doughty regarding PIN number 16-07-06-200-012, commonly known as 88 Palmyra Road, Sterling, Illinois, located in Palmyra Township. The parcel is zoned Ag 1, Rural Agricultural District. Petitioners are seeking a variance from Title 10, Chapter 9, Section 3, bulk regulations, specifically a side rear yard setback for the purpose of construction and accessory structure. This was added after the posting, so that's it's in your packet, the petition 24P 1626. Oh, the petition was added in, right. So is there a motion to move petition 24P 1626 to the executive committee for inclusion on the county board agenda? Dean Friel, motions. Mr. Reed seconds it. Any discussions? No discussions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion passed. Okay, there's no petitions going to the planning commission. There is the one petition coming from the planning commission. Petition number 24 PC 76 by the Lee County Zoning Office. It's a petition to amend the text amendment, Title 11, Subdivision Flood Control and Stormwater Management, Chapter 3, Flood Control of the Lee County Code with the requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program. Is there a motion to move petition 24 PC 76 to the executive committee for inclusion on the June County Board agenda? Dean Friel moves. Mr. Reed seconds it. Any discussions on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Unfinished business. I don't have anything under old. Don't have anything under new. Executive session. I don't have any executive. Is there a motion to adjourn? Dean Friel makes motion. Keen Hudson seconds it. Thanks, Keen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, vote. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.